Everybody's wound up today because Trump says we're going to import all this beef from Argentina. We're going to lower our beef prices because the beef's too expensive here. And I thought I'd throw my 2 cents in. First of all, it's not really a new thing to import beef. We've imported beef in this country for a long time. What is new, however, is the government getting involved because of the prices and saying the beef prices are too high. We're going to make a deal. We're going to buy a bunch of beef from Argentina, and we're going to undercut the American farmers and ranchers who are finally making some decent money. And that's just, it's a socialist mindset, if you ask me. That's not what I've grown up thinking as an American market, supply and demand. Where did that go?
American farmers are watching their livelihood collapse and still cheering for the guy telling us to buy beef from somewhere else. Let's talk psychology. He's not appealing to self-interest. He's triggering a trauma bond, the same pattern where people cling tighter the more they're devalued. It's the illusion of belonging after betrayal. He's mastered identity fusion, convincing followers that loyalty to him is loyalty to self or country. So even when the policies hurt them, their brain registers defiance as self-harm. He doesn't need to win every argument. He just needs to keep the bond alive. That's why you'll see people lose their farms and say, "Thank you, sir." Because in this kind of conditioning, pain feels like proof of faith.
The American farmer just took another hit. Donald says we're going to start importing beef from Argentina to lower the price here. They have a surplus, and since 2009, their market beef rate has dropped 99%, which is good for us in theory, except for they only account for 1% of our beef production, so they're going to have to drastically change things, which means things are going to change here in America as well. Our beef farmers, which are living on a very thin margin, they're dealing with a number of issues, mostly drought. I've seen this movie. It happened in Kentucky. They did a government buyout of tobacco. You know what we don't have anymore here? Tobacco farms. And then they did the dairy market. I just watched the very last dairy farm in my county shut down. This doesn't end well for America, not to mention the fact that we're supposed to be self-sustained. 2020 taught us nothing. Damn it.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Sumi here. I hope you guys had a beautiful day. Whatever you are, just in case you see me for the very first time, I hope you do consider subscribing on the channel. So without even wasting time, in today's episode, I have come across a bunch of clips from American farmers who are literally crashing out right now because this seems to be unfair to them for the fact that now President Donald Trump is going to be getting beef from Argentina to America, and therefore American farmers should reduce the cost of beef in America. Remember, China stopped buying soya bean from American farmers. Now it's buying its soya bean from Argentina. So in other words, instead of making America great again, what I'm seeing is making Argentina great again. Now, I don't know if you guys have come across these videos yet. In case you haven't, let us watch them together and let me know what you think down in the commentary.
I hope you guys know how interesting things are about to get. Many of us on the left have been warning Trump supporters that Donald Trump is a toxic narcissist, as is much of the administration, and everybody eventually gets burned, and you're going to get burned. And American cattle farmers right now, we are watching a full-blown narcissist attack against cattle farmers. So if you don't know what's going on, Trump has decided that because beef is so expensive because of his tariffs and his deportations, he's going to purchase beef from Argentina. And by flooding the market with more beef, bring the costs down for all of us. And the immediate response of the American cattle farmers, almost overwhelmingly, they probably voted for Donald Trump, are like, what? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? This is hurting us. And here's where it gets interesting. Trump responded exactly like a narcissist. He essentially said, you cattle farmers don't know how good you have it under me, which is gaslighting. And he said, you guys need to lower the price of your beef because you're basically the reason beef is so expensive. Classic narcissism, classic attack. It's classic. I can tell you right now, they are going through something. If anybody's been on the receiving end of that kind of narcissistic blow, it's traumatizing. But I got to tell you this. These Trump-supporting cattle farmers are not going to get any sympathy from other MAGA voters. See, this is also where, like if you're part of a church environment where the pastor is a narcissist and you get burned and you wake up and you start crying to the other parishioners that are still under the narcissist's spell, they turn on you. They're not going to be there to back you. These other MAGA supporters, MAGA voters, are not going to support these cattle farmers when they start turning on Donald Trump. And that's going to be another type of trauma these farmers are going to experience. Now, I, on the left, can behave just like many Trump supporters have behaved to this date and say, too bad, farmers. You asked for it. I don't care. All I care about is the price of beef is going down. Yay, Donald Trump. That's all I care about. I could say that, but I'm not MAGA. This actually hurts me to see all this, having been on the receiving end of narcissistic abuse myself. This is just pay attention, you guys. This is going to be a big awakening for that part of America.
So Donald Trump is now feuding with America's cattle ranchers, telling them that they should be thankful for him, that they are not being grateful enough, after the cattle ranchers expressed frustration that Donald Trump is importing Argentine beef in order to deal with high beef prices. So here you see a tweet where Trump attacks the U.S. cattle ranchers for their high prices and suggests that they do not understand their own industry. He says that he understands their industry much better than they do. He writes, the cattle ranchers, who I love, don't understand that the only reason they are doing so well for the first time in decades is because I put tariffs on cattle coming into the United States, including a 50% tariff on Brazil. If it weren't for me, they would be doing just as they've done for the past 20 years. Terrible. It would be nice if they would understand that, but they also have to get their prices down because the consumer is a very big factor in my thinking also. And Trump was not done there. He then wrote, in addition to everything else, tariffs on other countries saved our cattle ranchers. Just the complete opposite of the truth. It's just a complete and total lie. These tariffs are absolutely devastating our cattle ranchers, and they are feeling the effects. And importing Argentine beef is just yet another bailout for Argentina. It's nothing to do with America First and actually really hurts our farmers. Yesterday, Merriweather Farms wrote this whole long post. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but they said, we love and support you, but your suggestion to buy beef from Argentina to stabilize beef prices would be an absolute betrayal to the American cattle rancher. It's time to learn who this man is, Merriweather Farms. We understand that there are larger economic and geopolitical dynamics at play, including countering CCP influence in countries in our hemisphere. Argentina sells soybeans to the CCP. Donald Trump is helping the CCP by doing this. And maybe the craziest part about all this is Trump's plan doesn't even make any sense. Not only do the ranchers oppose Trump's Argentina beef imports, but experts say that it will not even lower prices at all. So here we go again, another Trump term. The farmers get screwed over again, and Trump says that they should say thank you. We'll keep covering all the news. Remember to follow along and listen to the Midas Touch podcast.
Yo, so I live in Florida. I'm a Floridian. I have my own business. In my business, I have to drive through a lot of the rural areas in Florida. A lot of what some people call sundown towns are just rural farming areas. Cattle, produce, citrus, a lot of those areas. Now, last November, December, even October, in these areas, especially the farms, the cattle farms, I would see a lot of Trump Vance flags, a lot of Trump for president flags. All right, so tells you what type of base it is. Then come February, March, two specific farms, because of the big old bulls they had that I tend to like to look at, I noticed they removed those flags. I didn't know if the flags probably flew in the wind because it's by the interstate or whatnot, you know, the weather, anything. Now, those same farms, none of those farms have Trump flags or Trump Vance flags. That was before today. Because today Trump said that he was going to bring in beef from Argentina to help lower the beef price. Now, the cattle farmers period in America are already having issues with this administration. We just sent, or are planning to send, 40 million to Argentina. You announced that last week. You already ruined the deal for the farmers who produce soybeans in America, to the point that China stopped getting their soybeans from America and started getting it from, guess who? Argentina. Millions and millions and millions of barrels from Argentina. And now, you're going to have the nerve to tell these American cattle ranchers and farmers that you're going to bring in beef from Argentina. I think it's safe to say your days are numbered up there, that whole administration. And we got an administration full of people that have no experience in the jobs that they hold titles in. Each position up there, every position up there in this administration that Trump has appointed someone to, they do not have experience in that job. But we'll get through it. It's your dog D, pray like chef, ain't no manual.
If you are involved in the beef industry, you probably well know that the market is down the limit today. With a few words from our president, we have watched everyone start to scramble, wondering what's going to happen. You know, American agriculture stood behind you, President Trump, and we put full faith in your ability to put America first, particularly American production, which comes down to the farmers and the ranchers that feed this great nation, that keep her free, that are the backbone. And as all of us wonder if the borders are going to open or what is going to happen, all of us are wondering a little bit about domestic agriculture. This is the first time in a long time that as cattlemen and women that we've actually been on top, where that banknote isn't going to be quite as hard to make. We don't want a bailout. We don't want all of those things. We want a free market. We want a market where we are actually getting paid a fair price, where we have the opportunity to keep up with all of the input costs that are going through the roof. You're going to make food cheaper, but what about our John Deere tractors? What about our pickup trucks, our trailers, our feed cost, our fuel cost? All of those things that we are still paying through the roof for. Just trying to make that banknote with a 8% interest rate has been beyond difficult for so many people in this industry. I am hoping and praying with all my might that as we wonder what's going to happen, and those few words that change everything for so many of us, that we will remember to put American agriculture first. Stand up for her, keep her free.
You guys hear today that Trump is going to import beef from Argentina, and he told the farmers to be thankful that he's saving U.S. farmers by importing Argentina beef, and that he knows what he's doing, and that cattle ranchers, they don't know what they're doing. And if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't be making a profit like they haven't been for the last 20 years, and they need to be thankful. And that tariffs have been saving cattle ranchers and ranchers and saving this country. Yeah, he said he knows what he's doing better than cattle ranchers. And then cattle ranchers are responding. They're like, well, we love you, Donald Trump, and we support you. But this will hurt us, but we still love you. And Donald Trump's like, yeah, I'm smarter than you, so you should just be thankful, and we're gonna bring in Argentina beef because I'm so smart. Nobody knows cattle ranching better than I do, because I know everything about cattle ranching.
Who knew that importing beef from Argentina was going to leave American farmers and ranchers questioning Trump's loyalties? First, the tariff wars undercut American soybean farmers, and now Trump is importing beef from Argentina. They want to know what's going on here. It turns out President Trump is threading the needle. While he's making deals with Argentina to keep China out of our backyard, he also has to face the reality that beef prices have not come down, and the American consumer feels it every time they check out at the grocery store. By allowing a fraction of Argentine beef into the US, he's putting just enough pressure on domestic producers to keep prices in check. And that's where the tension comes in. Ranchers are frustrated because they've seen stable profits thanks to strong demand, even at all-time high prices. But Trump has to decide, does he prioritize the producers of an industry or the pocketbooks of 330 million Americans heading into the holiday season? It's a complicated issue. We can't get hysterical or treat this like betrayal, because sometimes leadership means making uncomfortable trade-offs for the betterment of all Americans, not just one segment. Maybe the real answer isn't blocking imports, but removing the red tape that drives up producers' costs so ranchers can grow their herds and compete freely. Because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing: affordable food, strong farms, and a stable America. Let me know what you think in the comments.
I don't know, y'all. I'm still having a hard time believing that 77 million Americans voted to make Argentina great again. Because tell me, why did Donald Trump put out a Truth Social post today to cattle ranchers telling them they don't understand why they're getting screwed and artificially reduce their prices? Explain to them why, and not that they were sold out to Argentina. So let's see if the cattle ranchers are dumb enough to believe this cow shit. Because I can already hear some of them saying the tariffs are going to work out. Just as long as we can ride out several months of no revenue and bankruptcy. Government controlling pricing and the market and the volume. That sure sounds like a word that Republicans and conservatives hate and really blame Democrats for. What word is that? I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, MAGA is mad about it. They're saying this is not the plan I was sold. And Farmers for Trump appalled. How could he do this? We were farmers for Trump. Why isn't Trump for the farmers? Furthermore, in case you missed it, the administration is already warning that Argentina beef might be diseased. But we're still going to import it. All right, but just to recap, in case you're lost in the sauce, Trump started a trade war. And then he bailed out Argentina, and he sold their soybeans to China instead of from our U.S. farmers. And he hasn't helped with any of this tariff revenue. And now he's bailing out Argentina again. And now he's saying we're going to buy their beef. So this just proves two things. Number one, tariffs are a scam. And secondly, that his...
All right, so first we bankrupt the American soybean farmers, and now we bankrupt the cattle baron. Well, MAGA, I thought prices were already lower. And I know y'all aren't going to go get some Argentinian cows when we have perfectly good MAGA cows here in America. I mean, do those Argentinian cows even understand English? You know, strangely for you guys running this whole America First thing, it sure seems like every other country in America is coming first. But MAGA, if you actually looked into this a little bit deeper, you would understand that Scott Bessent used to work for George Soros, and now Scott Bessent is trying to copy one of their most famous trades together, where they bet on the Argentine economy. But it's almost like the way you guys want to run government doesn't work. You know, if you've got to throw $40 billion at something and buy their cattle and help them sell their soybeans to undercut your own people, doesn't sound like America First, does it?
Now, as I always hear people saying that, yes, this is what most of you farmers voted for, because the highest number of these farmers, these are MAGA supporters, they voted for Donald Trump, expecting them to be helped in many ways, but it ends up to be the opposite, because now they are the biggest population in the United States that is crying every day. Now, this seemed to be so unfair to them, because they have literally been going through, besides the tariffs and also the soybean market to have been taken over. And at the same time, President Donald Trump is giving 40% of American pay tax money to Argentina to be helped. So I don't know what you guys think about this. Am I going to say that Trump hates his people? I don't know if that is the perfect word to even use, but I don't know what you guys think about this. It is just crazy for me, because people are calling Trump all sorts of words. He's a narcissist. He's a selfish narcissist. And some people are like Argentinians. People in Argentina, they can't see it, that this is actually indirectly colonialism. He wants to take over Argentina. He is literally doing all this because he wants a certain president to go through And at the same time, President Donald Trump is like, I'm doing all this because the people in Argentina need this money more than Americans. But also, when we look at the American people, they are also suffering. They are also suffering. So this is crazy for me, guys. I don't have a side. I'm just confused about this whole situation, because imagine you being ahead of a family, of your family. Instead of providing to your family, you choose to provide to a neighbor's family. No one does such a thing without having an intention or without expecting anything. You know, it is just weird. So I don't want to over talk into this episode, guys, but let me know what you think, because I personally am puzzled. Otherwise, all my returning subscribers, you guys, thank you so much for the love and support. And to the people who have seen me for the very first time, or you've just landed on my channel for the very first time, I hope you do consider subscribing for more reaction videos like these. Otherwise, stay blessed. Have a beautiful day.